This is going to be the final one for the hour, for the morning hour on the second day. Yes, we're rocking this summit. Yes, all our top experts who are here to help you cruise. Oh my God. You know, sometimes I like, thank you, Jesus, for allowing us be at the feet of our amazing speakers, because this community is what I did not have like 2 years ago, 3.5 years ago, when I was going through so much challenges in my life. And that is what I want to do for somebody who is going through any kind of challenge. It might be husband is sick, it might be business is failing, it might be kids are not behaving right, whatever it is. We are touching every area of your life. It might be spiritual, it might be your journey in life, it might be burying your purpose, it might whatever. This is just something that I did not have 3.5 years ago, going through challenges that actually nearly claimed my belief in God. But thank God for the Holy Spirit, who was always there to say, daughter, I got you. But even when he's saying it, I still needed somebody like I've had in the last 4 months speak over me like daily. So when you hear that the people of God, Coach Sally, I'm going to introduce you very soon, but when you hear that they gathered and they encouraged one another, that was true. It was a powerful strategy that kept them sane in their time of difficulties, in their time of challenge. So you cannot do this journey alone. Don't do it like I did. So if you know any friend, anywhere, I just feel led to tell you this after last month and this month. This is the first announcement I'm making. If you know any friend that will need to be in this community that we are creating, we are raising, so that they can have this shift that we are having every day. Now is the time to send them challenges2champions.com link. That's all you need to do. It's not something you're going to think how to spell it. Every one of us know how to spell challenges2champions.com. That is it. And that is going to allow your friend come and be part of what we're doing in this community and just get all the ahas that I've gotten in the last 1 month. We've been here doing this for the last 1 month, and this is our second summit. We did the first one March 6th, 7 and 8, and now we're doing the second one. So in the house today, we're just waiting for all of you to come in, and let me tag everyone, because I know you guys don't want to miss any of the speakers for these 3 days. Maybe it's only 3 days. Yes, it's true, the video is going to be there a little while, but it's only 3 days. So make sure that you're here, you're tuning in, you're responding, you're being blessed, and you're getting something. And never come into any room that I'm creating without your pen and your paper. Yes, I mean every word of it, because one of the speakers are just going to say something that's going to take you out of where you are now and bring it to where you want to be, or start the process. Come on. So let me tell you who we have in the house. She's how do I put that? Global Citizen Life. You know why I can't call it? I run a global team. I tell people I'm the global team maker. So I run a global team, and my ladies, some of them here know that I run a global. So my Sally in the house today, she's a Global Citizen Life and a visionary founder of Global Citizen Life. Come on. So, and there's something about her, again, I know she's going to tell you, she loves to travel. She loves to travel, and she's living her best life now. And you didn't tell me that one. I just put it on because I know. I just know. So she have a consulting firm dedicated to empowering individuals to embrace a global lifestyle. Oh my God. As a #1 international best-selling author and acclaimed speaker, Sally has lived in 5 countries. I didn't read that. You won't believe. I didn't see that. She has lived in 5 countries, traveled to over 45, and holds multiple residencies and dual citizenship. She specializes in helping entrepreneurs, business owners, and freedom seekers achieve financial security, independence, and the freedom of global citizenship. So she was the lady that was in my mind when I was finishing introducing Coach Hannah, the financial officer. She was the lady in my mind. So I'm just going to let our coach, I'm very excited. And my ladies, you guys know when I'm excited, joy kicking. I always wonder, why would my parents name me Joy? It's a real name. I didn't make up that. It's a name from birth. It's my baptismal name. It's on my global name, and I use it because they saw that if my mother just called me a while ago, like, Mommy, you can't call now, eh? You can't call her, I'm on call, And every time she called me, she start like this, the joy of my family all my life. So whenever joy kick in, I get excited till I start behaving like that, my mommy's baby. So I will hold back and don't get too excited. So I'm just going to hand over you ladies to our speaker today, who is going to just tell us how she earned it, tell us how she learned it, her journey, what brought all that she's doing, the passion around it, and everything. So, Coach Sally, take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Joy, for having me, and keep the joy, spread the joy. It's fantastic. It's what we all need. So I guess I'll start a little bit about myself and how I became a global citizen. And it kind of started at a very young age. I remember when I was in high school and living in Canada, wintertime is extremely cold. And it probably was on one of those super cold days. And I was outside with my friends, and I remember saying, I think I was switched at birth. And their eyes got big. They look at me, they're like, "What? Your parents aren't your parents?" And I started to laugh and I said, "Well, not literally switched at birth, but I said, I don't know. I have this feeling that I'm not supposed to be here for my entire life." And here was living in Canada, which was strange because as a child, we didn't really travel much, and I didn't really think about travel too much, but I had that feeling, and I kind of summed it up to I just didn't like winter, is what my kind of thought was way back then. And then, life happens, and we go through things, and I got married and had a baby, and then life really hit. And within a very short period of time, about 2 years, people ask me what was the turning point, and I don't really have a one point for me. It was over about 2 years where things got really rough for a while for me. So I had my husband had disappeared about 7 or 8 years prior to that. Um, I was dating a guy who was great, but I ended that relationship. I just didn't think we both wanted the same things. I started to see someone again. Again, this was all over the span of a couple of years. It wasn't very quickly together. And he died from an aneurysm. So I was like, I'm done. I've had enough. I need to get away. And so ironically, I was going to expand my business that I had in Canada into the United States. It was a safety training and consulting company. And my business partner, I think about 2 or 3 days before I was supposed to leave, said, "Well, yes, I'll still be your business partner if you pretend to be my fiance. I'll buy you a ring, I'll buy you a big house, I'll put your daughter in private school anywhere in the world. But because it makes us look like we have a stronger business if we're in a business partnership." And I'm like, mm, I'm not where are you going with this? I'm not believing that because it's safety consulting and training. There is no need for a couple. And he said, if you're not happy after 5 years, I'll give you $2 million and we can part ways and end the business. And I just thought, are you kidding me? Like I couldn't even believe it. First of all, my daughter had lost her father, and then the other father figure in her life, we had split up to have a fake relationship because somebody's hoping I'll change my mind. And like it was just absolutely absurd. And so of course I said no. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And I thought, what if I met somebody? What if I'm there and I meet somebody and then I have to say, oh, no, no, this guy, he's not my fiance. He's just paying me to pretend for a strong business. Like, what kind of person does that make me? And I just said no. And so at that point, then I was just fed up with kind of North America. And I had a vacation rental property in Costa Rica. And so my daughter and I moved to Costa Rica. Um, she wasn't too happy about that. She wanted to go to California as a teenage girl. I get it. Moving to a small town in Costa Rica where we didn't speak Spanish, we didn't know anybody, and I honestly I didn't even know where she was going to go to school. I started to do some research and looking for stuff, but it was, it was a big kind of it was a rough 2 years, and even getting down there, it was a lot of adjusting, and some things happened like just little things when I was there getting a flat tire, trying to get it fixed, my computer breaking, trying to do that to work. And it made me question. I was like, gee, like they say everything happens for a reason. And I do believe that to a degree. But it was also, things happen to see, am I meant to be here? Are these challenges now that I'm in Costa Rica? Is it is it saying like, how bad do you want this? Or are you gonna give up easy? Or are these signs, even though they're slight signs, saying maybe this isn't your place? And I was really kind of battling with that. And I found a great network of people, and we were going to church there. And I remember at church talking to some of the people and saying, like, I'm not sure if this is kind of the point of how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to stay here? We're going to throw you some challenges to see how bad you want it. Or is this not the place for me? Maybe this isn't the right move. And when I told them about the few things, they said, yeah, there's challenges here. It's not an easy place to live. And you've uprooted your whole life. Everything is different. The food is different. The grocery stores are different. The people are different. The everything is different. And they laughed when I said about the flat tire. They're like, oh, people get flat tires all the time here. Like you'll just adjust to that. That's just day-to-day life. Like that really isn't even a challenge when you're here. And so it was interesting. And we ended up staying there for about 5 years. And then my daughter had decided she wanted to move back to Canada. And so she did. So I was thinking, man, now I'm an empty nester. I'm turning 40. I think I was just turning 40 then. And and I thought, well, I don't want to move back to Canada. It's cold there. They have winter. That's not my thing. I don't like winter. I don't like the cold. I mean, I don't mind a little snow, but when we get into -20, -30, -40 degrees Celsius, no, thank you. And so I thought, well, what can I do? Because then I was slowly transitioning out of my safety consulting and training company. I'd sold part of it off. I was still working within it. And I started writing. And so initially I was writing about health and wellness and safety because that's what I knew from what I was teaching for so many years. And I was ready for a change with that. I was getting a little bit bored with it, a little bit tired with it, and I thought, how can I do more travel but still, make money and keep myself going? And I became a travel writer. And I took a course, and from then the travel bug, like I had a travel bug before then, but it really exploded because now my work was my dream job. I decided because I was freelance travel writing, I could go anywhere that I wanted to go and write about the places I wanted to write about. And so that's how I've ended up traveling so many different places. And it was great for years. And then when the pandemic hit, that was kind of another pivotal point or turning, as with many people around the world, because when people weren't traveling, there wasn't really a need for travel writers. Nobody could go anywhere. And and people were asking me over the years too about how I travel so much and how I do things and I live in different countries. And with the point of the pandemic, kind of my kind of tipping point with that, where I kind of really again changed my career, but to me they've all kind of tied together, was And I don't know if some of the listeners heard about it, but there was the trucker protest in Canada, where the truckers were protesting the vaccination that was needed for them to drive the trucks between Canada and the US. And I think that's when the Canadian government just lost their mind. Because I believe we have the right to protest. I mean, that's we're allowed to. And the government started to freeze the bank accounts of people that were protesting and freeze the bank accounts of people who supported the protesters. So imagine you're protesting, which I believe we all have the right to do. And of course, peaceful protesting. There's always some bad apples in every protest, unfortunately. But here you're protesting because you don't want to get a vaccine, which your choice. I mean, we now know a lot more about it, but the fact of if you're protesting and the government doesn't like your protesting, now they're going to freeze your bank accounts. So you can't buy groceries, you can't pay your mortgage, you can't pay your vehicle payments. And then they even threatened that these people who were protesting and not getting vaccinated, then we're not going to give them a passport because they have no right to a passport. And I became furious. Um, I thought the government has no right to freeze a bank account because of a person protesting. We have the right to protest. Now, obviously, again, peaceful protest. And then to also freeze bank accounts of people who were supporting protesters, donating money, bringing them food, whatever their way of support was, I don't even know. But that's when I then decided to turn what I just helped friends with and gave guidance and stuff. And I started a company called Global Citizen Life. And that was to help people so we are never stuck under the control of any one single government. And with that, so if you have a residency, so I traveled through the pandemic because I had residency and citizenship. So I could still travel. Um, and, with that, and also, if you don't like the way things are going with politics, and right now in the world, there's a lot of changes with politics. There's um, votes and things coming up, and not just the United States, Canada, and other countries as well. And so it's always good to the way that I see it is to have a backup plan. So then we're never stuck. And just because you have citizenship somewhere else doesn't mean you necessarily have to give up your original citizenship. In some countries you do, but then I just don't recommend those ones unless you want to. If somebody adamantly wants to, then they can. But if I have citizenship and dual citizenship, I can still live within either one of those countries. I don't have to give one. Same with residency. I have residency now. With residencies, there's rules and stuff behind it that sometimes you have to visit so many days a year, so many weeks a year, so many months out of the year. Every country's a little bit different, but it's just having that. So then, if again, we have other lockdowns or a pandemic or um, unrest where you're at, or you're just not happy with the way the taxes are going. I mean, there's so many reasons that you can have that residency or citizenship and move to another country easily instead of going, oh my gosh, I need to leave now, like things are bad. But then there's the whole process. So it's better to kind of plan ahead and to have that lifestyle. Or if you want to be, as we have what we call here in Canada, we have a lot of snowbirds. A lot of people like to leave, especially the retirees, in winter. And I don't blame them. And so with that, they've planned that they leave for the winter, they come back to Canada in for the spring and summertime, and it's a great way to live. So there's so many options. So when I talk about that global lifestyle, not only is it about living, but it's also about where we can invest, where we can buy things. So if we have a residency or citizenship, it makes it a lot easier to open up another bank account, which protects our money if we have another bank account in another country that country A can't get to because it's in country B. And it's not about hiding money or anything because we pay taxes on it. We file our taxes. We're legally allowed to have other bank accounts in other countries. And it's just there as a safety net. Or if you visit that country, you don't have to worry about exchanging currency all the time, or you can when the currency is good because They always fluctuate. And then it also gives the opportunity if you want to buy real estate or invest in other opportunities, whether it's other businesses, stocks, startups. And it just really gives us an opportunity to diversify globally. So when one economy and market's not doing well, we could still be doing well in another, or we want to split our time. My ideal is 3 or 4 homes in 3 or 4 different countries. So one in each country where I travel between those. I still have a network of friends and people, and it's much easier to travel because you don't have to bring a ton of stuff with you if I'm going to be gone for months because everything is still there. I just bring a small bag and I have all my stuff with me. And to me, that is the ideal way to live. I love big cities, but I also love being out in nature. So a lot of time in the last probably year or so, 2 years, I really split my time between Spain and Montenegro. So in Spain, I'm generally in Barcelona, love it. Busy, lots of things going on, tons of tourists and people. But after a while, it's gets a little much. And I'm just like, I just want to break from the people. Like, I love it, but I just want to slow things down. And then I go to my place in Montenegro and it's quiet and it's beautiful. And I walk everywhere, even in Barcelona, I walk everywhere. But it's surrounded by mountains and the sea. And it's just nice to have a break and relax and chill. And usually after a few months, 2, 3-ish months kind of time, then I'm thinking, I'm getting bored. It's a little too quiet. So then I hop back over to Barcelona and I see my friends again, and it's busy and there's lots of things to do. And for me, that's an ideal. And I know that's not going to be ideal for everybody, especially for people who have children, small children. But they could be in one place because they love the school, the education system, things like that. And then a second place on all the holidays, Easter, summer holidays, spring break, whichever it may be. So there's always a way to live what I always say, it's live your best life. And that's why it was funny when you said earlier, when you put that in there and you said, I know you didn't say it, but I thought I laughed to myself because I thought it's what I do say. And I like to help people live their best life. And your best life depends on you, where you want to live, the weather you like to have, the activities you like to do, how close perhaps you want to be to your family and friends in your home country. Um, the type of job you do. I mean, there's so many things that come into it, but there is an ideal for everyone. And it could be a part-time, so you're like the snowbird, or you're like me, where you want maybe 3 or 4 different places, or you're just unsure. You want to travel around, you want to check it out. And it's interesting. I have several sayings I live by, but with this one, it's life is so short when you're enjoying it and you're having a good time. And you could live the same number of years, and it could be so long and so hard when you're not enjoying it, when you're hating what you do, when you don't enjoy where you're living or where you're at. And so the choice is yours. Do you want to love it and live it, or do you want to dread it and dislike it? And change is not easy. I'm aware of that. It's interesting how we can tolerate so much. And that's good. We need to have that because we have struggles. Everybody has struggles. Nobody has an easy life. We all have challenges that we deal with at different points in life, but those things make us stronger. And eventually, with some of the really hard ones, we deal with it, we put up with it, we tolerate it, and then there becomes that tipping point, that point of when all of a sudden either something happens to us or something happens within us. And then we're just like, no more. That is it. I have had enough. And then we make that change. And it could be, for some, it could be that number on the scale. It hits that number, and all of a sudden, that's it. No more. I'm changing my eating habits. I'm changing my lifestyle. It could be that relationship where there's that point and then we're just no, no more. Or that job. We've been dreading it, we go, and whatever happens that one day, that's that tipping point and no more. And we make the change. And the thing about change, I think, is people were scared of change in many ways. Like I thrive on it, but I still get nervous about it because our brain is there to protect us. And our brain always goes, what if? But it's always the what if bad? What if it doesn't work? What if it's worse? What if you're alone? What if, all this negative, negative, negative. But we have to think, well, what if? What if it's amazing? What if it's great? What if I reach that goal weight? What if I reach that person of my dreams? What if I meet that best friend who I do all these crazy adventures with that I never thought I would ever do? And that person's there with me. What if it's amazing? And my only regret now is, why didn't I do it sooner? So many people I know and talk to, even on my podcast. So I have a podcast, Global Citizen Life. And a lot recently, I've talked to people who have moved abroad, who have done it. And we talk about the challenges, because of course there's challenges, but there's challenges at home. And almost every one of them at some point say, I always ask myself or say, I wished I would have done it sooner. So it's always an interesting thing, and we kind of nobody has regret. There's not that, but they do kind of think, I wished I would have done it sooner. How many more places would I visited? Who else would I have met along the road? What other lessons would I have learned? Whether part of my travel is just learning about people. I mean, I am not a fan of mainstream media. I think it is good for to a point. Um, but the mainstream media likes to keep us in fear, likes to keep us um, at home. In my opinion, I think every country has propaganda to that country. So here in Canada, we have propaganda. Canada's the best. Everything is great. Be careful when you go to other countries. They're not so good. And it's just for the most part, it's just wrong and it's just lies. There are amazing people that I have met in every country. And of course, there's bad people in every country. There's people that will do bad things, but the number of bad people are really, really small compared to the number of good people. And I remember one time I was in India with some friends. We were doing competition. It was called the Motorized Rickshaw Challenge. And we had to drive a motorized rickshaw, so a tuk-tuk. There was me and two female friends. We were one team. And if I recall correctly, I think there were 16 teams from different places around the world. And each morning we got a paper that said, go to this place, find this, go to this place. So kind of like the Amazing Race, if people know that TV show. So it was similar to that, but we had to drive ourselves and get ourselves going. So day one, when we were in Chennai, India. I've never been to India before in my life. And I had some people say, "Oh, you're going to India. You're with two girls. You better be careful. Like it's not safe for women in India." And we do hear on the news about, women being raped and things like that. And it just seemed like that's all that they would say about India. And my friends had been there, and so we go. And I remember one time we're waiting to cross this. It's more than just a street. I think it was like 8 lanes of traffic. We were down at the beach and we were going to go back to our hotel. And we're waiting and waiting. And the three of us are kind of talking, saying, I don't know how we're going to get across this highway, basically, with all this traffic. And this lady walks over. She was a bit of an older lady. And she puts out her hand. So I take her hand to help her off the curb. So I'm like, okay, I'll help you step down off the curb. And she continues to hold my hand, and I look over to my friends and I say to them, she's not letting go. Because she's holding on my hand. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like she's not letting go. My friend's kind of like, I don't know. And then she puts out her other hand, and as she's holding my hand, and she walks with me, and my friends follow, and stops all the traffic to get across all the lanes of traffic. And then she talks a little bit because she knew a tiny bit of English, and we mentioned the hotel that we were going to, and so she talks to one tuk-tuk driver, and then she's like, no, 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 no. And we're all kind of looking at each other, us three girls. Okay, don't know what that was. Talks to another one. No, 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 no. And we're like, okay. That's, I think it was the third one she talks to, and she's like, okay, okay. And then she told us how much to pay him and to make sure. So I think the other ones were trying to charge too much money, in her opinion. Um, and she was so fabulous and so nice. And even the men there, because we were going to some very kind of smaller remote places where tourists don't go to throughout this challenge. And the men there were always, photo lady, photo. And they would stand beside us, very polite, with a distance apart, or photo with my wife, photo with my wife. And they just wanted photos. And a few times when we needed help or we had a flat tire, one time the whole town came out and offered us food and drink and asked us to bless their babies. They said three white angels came to our town today. And it was incredible, that being there. And so, I know that we hear of bad things that happen, but there's so many wonderful, helpful, good people that were there. And I mean, that's just one country of experiences that I've had. And I've been now, I think I'm coming up to 50. I think I'm 48, 49 kind of countries. And so I can, I don't want to talk about all those stories, but I probably have in a good half of them, just great stories of people just willing to help and do good things. And so, there's a whole world out there of fabulous people, interesting cultures as well, to learn about just different cultures around the world, different foods. Um, I've had some things like, I'm not a fan of spicy food. So India was a little bit of a challenge for me with foods, but that's just because of my own not growing up with spicy food. So it doesn't take much for my mouth to be on fire, and then I'm not enjoying what I'm eating. But I'm always willing to try things, and just I find as well travel, it really opens people's eyes. I believe my thoughts and my opinions and my beliefs are not right, but they are not wrong. And I think that about every person in the world. And I love having conversations with people who strongly believe what they believe, but can also defend why they believe it. Because to me, if I say something and ask somebody, like, why do you think that? Or why do you believe it? And they say, well, because it's true. I'm like, what makes it true? Because there's probably a way that I can make it untrue. Um, and so a lot of things is just our experience. That's what makes something true to us, or what we're taught as children. Because I say to a lot of people, if you were taken from your parents as a baby and moved to another family, an adoptive family on the other side of the world in a culture completely different than yours, your thoughts, your beliefs, probably your religion, your everything would be different. And you would think that it is right because it's what we're taught, or it's your experience. And therefore, yes, it is right because that's your experience. Your experience isn't wrong. Your feelings about that experience isn't wrong. It's right. But because mine is different, mine isn't wrong either. My experience is right because it's mine. And so it's with that, with religion, have your beliefs, because it's your experience, it's how you were raised, what you believe in, or what you don't. And sometimes I've met people who were very religious. And even me for myself as a child, we went to church. Every Sunday we went to church. But then when my dad passed away in a car accident, my mom said, "There's no such thing as God. We're not going to church anymore." He would not have taken your father away from us if there was such a thing. And we stopped going. My mom never went back. I still went for a while, then eventually stopped because I was the only one in my family going. But then, I believe in spirituality, and I've never completely walked away from everything. When I was living in Costa Rica, went back to church, going there again, and it's just learning how with different experiences, I can't say, you know, how my mom believes or doesn't believe because there was a belief, but that experience changed her belief. Will she come back around to that belief? Unfortunately, now I don't think so. She's at stage 4 pancreatic cancer and doesn't have too much time left, like months maybe. So I don't think she's going to come back to that belief, but as some friends of mine think that there is reincarnation. She will come back and perhaps learn the lessons of life that maybe she didn't learn now, or to change that belief. So I find it's very interesting with religion why people believe their beliefs. And I think it's fascinating because I don't think there is one right or one wrong. Having those beliefs are great. And it's even somewhat with politics. That one's a little more dicey in my opinion, because, people just get so adamant. And I think where a downfall with that right now in the world is you have to agree with everything I agree with, or you're my enemy if we disagree on something. And I think that's really sad because having conversation to me isn't to change a belief, it's to understand. And that understanding is for me as well. How can I understand, well, why would you believe that? Like, that sounds very strange and weird to me. And through conversation and experience or things, then it makes sense. And I think we should all question our own beliefs. And with that, even like, what is your belief of your definition of success? I really think that we need to change our our belief as a whole around success, because a lot of people think success is big house, fancy cars, lots of money, um, potentially fame, or fame or well known within your industry, and that means you're successful. But if we look at how many rich, successful people there are in the world that have had divorces, estranged relationships, they don't speak with their children, drug and alcohol abuse or addiction or challenges with it. It's not that those things are make us successful. So if we start to talk about the belief and thought of what makes us successful, and again, for each person, that's going to be different. For some, it could be, I'm the greatest mom and I don't work because I'm helping with my kids and I help them with their schoolwork and take them to dance and soccer and this and that. And we have family dinner together every night. Um, and that's a successful life. And so, changing that, and I think it's great, but it's all about the conversation and having those conversations about changing those beliefs and what is successful. And as we talk to more people about their definition of success, maybe I might change my belief about what the definition of success is, what the definition of being a human. Like, to me, we're all on earth. We're all human beings. We are all the same. We have arms, legs, hearts, souls, feelings, and things that make us happy and things that make us sad. And then of course, when we get down, I believe, to a cellular level, that's when we're a little bit different because some people have allergies. Some people can't eat things. Some people, they're with disease and things like that. At the cellular level, we're different, but generally, we're all human beings on Earth trying to be happy, trying to have a good life, trying to be successful with what we do. And for me, as being a global citizen, I see that we all want the same things. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter, um, the size of our family. I was just very lucky to be born in Canada. That has given me opportunity. But at the same point, I know people who are born in Canada who, are homeless. We have people here who still have drug and alcohol problems. So just being born in Canada isn't complete life's golden ticket. Just being born in the United States isn't. We see people, especially now, that are born in other countries, they immigrate to Canada, the US, Australia, Germany, wherever. And the immigration people, the expats, are doing better and living better lives because they've gone through challenges. They're working harder. They they don't have an expectation of something should just be handed to them because they were born here. Like I don't think, well, I'm born in Canada, I should just have things handed to me because I'm Canadian. I say I am lucky that I was born in Canada. It's given me a great passport, which gives me opportunities, but I still have to work for it. I still have to do it because otherwise I could be homeless. And trust me, you want to be homeless in Canada in wintertime. That's not good. Or anywhere for that matter, of course. But we still have to do the work. We still have the challenges. And whether that was growing up and challenges with our parents and things that happened as kids, or sometimes we get more challenges later in life. Right now, for me personally, I had some challenges earlier. My dad passed away when I was young. I was 6 years old. And then the challenges before I left Canada, which made me say, okay, time for a change. I need a new life. But those brought me to some great ones. And now with my family's going through, I've got a few people in my family through illnesses. I just had a good friend pass away a couple of days ago. And I've been saying to people, like, even the one girl I was talking to, she's like, you're crushing it in work. Like, I see everything that you're doing and you're doing great. And I say, yeah, it's going pretty well. But my personal life right now feels like it's a bit of a train wreck. Like 2024 personally is kicking my butt. But I also know that these are challenges that make me grow, that these are challenges that will pass. These are things I'm going to have to deal with. Maybe they're things that are for me that I'm going to need to take some time for myself and do some reflect. And maybe again it will be, what do I want from life? Where am I at now? Do I want to continue living the lifestyle and all the traveling? Or is it a point where, no, it's time to settle down a little bit more, have stronger roots, work on those friendships, that community? Because I've really realized, and scientific studies have also shown that, community is really key to being happy, is having community. And I think that's a big problem where we're at in the world right now is we don't have a lot of community. The pandemic really put that space in community and individualism, and because we were by ourselves and we were stuck by ourselves, but we need to work on that because the happiest people have community. They help each other. We're there for each other. We used to know our neighbors. We used to know the neighborhood. Um, and we would help. You'd go to your neighbor, oh, do you have a cup of milk I can borrow? Just because it's easier to do that than go all the way to the store and come back. And some people nowadays think that's so strange. but it's our neighbors, like it's the community. We're there to help each other to be strong. And that's how we're stronger together as we work as a team than we are individually. So somehow I want us to be a global community where we are everywhere and we take bits. There's things that I learn that they do in different countries, and I think, why don't we do that in Canada? Why don't we have that going on in Spain? Why don't we do these things? Because they're more efficient. They're better for the environment. They just make sense. They're easier, but there's still this certain countries do certain things, and I get it because that's part of our culture with cultural things, but when it comes to things for the environment, when it comes to um, just work and jobs and things like that, we can be so much more efficient when we work as a community. So um, yeah, it's great to be community, to be global, and to help each other because there's just so many good people. When we're having those challenges, that's when we really need that community, and everybody has challenges. We just have them at different times, and that's the great thing about community is one person's having it, we can help them. Things get better because things always get better. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it's really hard, but things do get better. And then we are a stronger, better person because of our challenges. So,
I can sit here all day listening to you, Coach Sally. I used to hear back home that when people travel, they have so much wisdom, and they can actually just have you in a place and talk to you about life experience for like hours. And I'm telling you, I want to be in that room someday when you will have like 6 hours to tell us so many countries. No, it was good. Oh my God, ladies, are you guys not blessed? I saw the love. Thank you so much for joining us again as we about rounding up the morning hour for the day. We're going to take a break, and by 1 p.m. hour from now, we're going to be back. But it was so good having you here, and I'm very, very, very sure that somebody is already thinking, where will I travel next? Somebody's already thinking that. So thank you so much, Coach Sally. Now I just want to open up for you to tell us, who do you work with? How do you help the people? Like you say, you help people, introduce them to countries. How can they find you? Did we discuss any free gift today? I'm not sure about that. Do you have
well,
any free?
I do have a workbook for people, and it's what I use for my high paying clients. So it's a gift for them. And what that workbook does is it just really gets you thinking about different things. So that it's broken up into sections of the lifestyle. Like, where would you like to live? What kind of lifestyle would you want? What kind of weather do you like? And then some parts of it also talks about like your work. Where can you go with work? What are your options or potentially limitations, or do you want to start something new? And where do if you could invest anywhere in the world, what type of investor are you? Right? Because some people like real estate, some people like art, some people if they're into cryptocurrencies. I mean, there's so many things. So it goes through a number of different areas in your life to really get you thinking about what you want and probably ask some questions that you haven't really thought of, or might be some surprising things. So they can get that through my website. So if they go to globalcitizenlife.org/workbook,
Okay.
and they can have that. So that's globalcitizenlife.org/workbook. And they can get it there. And then on the website too, like we help people completely diversify asset protection, international bank account, citizenship, residency, all of that kind of stuff. We help them figure out maybe what is the best destination for them if they're quite unsure. And we narrow it down. I never make a decision for somebody, but going through a bunch of questions and stuff, I say, well, these are probably three options. And then I do recommend go check them out. And different cities in the same country can give you a different feel. Like somebody may not like Barcelona because it's way too busy, but they might like Valencia or Malaga, which is further south, a little bit smaller, maybe not so busy. And so it's finding what is right for the person. And then also, I also do some one-on-one calls as well, just short ones. So if people have already moved or they've got pretty much everything figured out, but they just have a couple of questions. So I've got them as is it a 30-minute cappuccino, no, a 30-minute espresso chat because I'm in Europe. So it's espresso, it's short, or a 60-minute cappuccino because it's a little, or it's an hour, it's a little bit longer, a little bit bigger of a coffee. Or we have a European lunch, which is 3 hours, and they'll have 3 hours of my time to go over some things and ask questions and hopefully I can help them along their journey. So lots of different ways of helping.
Wow, wow, that sounds really, really big. So, who want to be a global citizen? I do. I tell people, I said, I believe I count myself as one of the Nigerians that went to so many countries with my passport as a Nigerian in Asia, back here in South American side. And now I'm in North America and I no longer use the Nigerian passport. My husband is from Nevis, St. Kitts Nevis, an
Oh,
island in
okay.
the Caribbean.
Mhm.
Yes. So I now use my Nevis passport. And like you said, will soon become a US citizen too, because my husband, my children, everybody is. It's just me. I've been here for almost how many years? I've been here so long. I'm supposed to naturalize 2 years after being here, but I just haven't really, because I have my Nevis passport. We go more countries than American passport, sorry to say. Yeah, and we go
And
more
that's
free.
something to consider as well, because sometimes
Yeah.
people think of, oh, well, if I have this, why would I want that passport? Like, and it
Okay.
could be wherever it is. They
Mm.
don't realize you have your passport that you're born with, but a second
Mhm.
passport, which may not appear to be as prestigious as some people think,
Yes.
gives the
Yes.
opportunity to travel to so many other countries that the original
Countries.
passport doesn't. And so it
Yes.
makes sense to have sometimes some of those what we would say like a Turkish passport would be
Mhm.
amazing for me because Turkey would allow me to travel to many other countries visa free that I
Yeah.
don't get with Canada.
Yes. Yes. Like
So sometimes
Nevis.
that's part of the planning. And St. Kitts and Nevis again would be another great one
Yeah,
for me
St.
to
Kitts and
get.
Nevis is like 150 plus and
Yeah.
it's free. And even US automatically give all of them authentic citizen like 10 years visa. They don't
Mm,
struggle. So it just wanna, so when I came in here, I'm like in the Caribbean with St. Kitts Nevis, I'm a citizen of all the Caribbean countries.
that's right.
So
That's
I
right.
get in there, I can do my business, I can live, I come in like a citizen to all of
Mm.
them. So living here, I've not been in a hurry to even go for the US one, because even the US one, they need visa to my country, Nigeria, but Nevis do not need visa to my country.
Well, and you have to think though too, once you become a US citizen for taxes, they will
Mhm.
tax you no matter where you live for the rest of your life. So sometimes becoming a US citizen is not the best thing to be doing as well, because there's the tax aspect to that. So that might be something that you might want to think about because the US is one of there's only two countries in the world, and the US is one that tax their citizens forever. Like
All
you still
over.
have to file, even if you leave the US, you're never coming back. If you're a citizen, then you have to renounce your citizenship so they don't tax you for the rest of your life. And you have to file paperwork every year for their taxes. And they, they make things difficult for their citizens, even for
Yeah,
citizens who leave.
yeah. And I'm really, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
don't rush, don't
That's
rush.
an,
I mean, you have lots of things to think
that's,
about with that. I'm just
that's
saying
an,
don't rush into it. You've
yes,
got
that's an in-house discussion, but trust me, you're
yeah.
100% all right. They really make a lot of things hard for their citizens. I'm serious. So, but anyway, I am a proud Islander. I always tell people
That's
I'm a proud
great.
Islander. So when I throw mine, even Philippines, I want to go everywhere is free. I don't have to worry about
Yes.
pizza. I don't have to. I just pack my bag and I move. And people like, really, you really don't. You really, really, really don't have not pursued this. I say, you don't know what I have. I have a gold mine. I
Yeah.
have a gold mine. So and my husband knows it. That was the first thing he fought for me. He said, Jay, I just want to give you this. I don't know what you're gonna do with it. And it's really been a blessing, doing all this and living here. And here I
Mhm.
live too, because once you're a resident, once you're a green card holder, you live here. And as you say, and if it's something you have to think about, sure, you were thinking, but for no reason. I haven't been that like we've been here. We got that since 2015. So think
Okay,
about it, it's
great. Yeah.
almost 10 years. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think my kids have their thing before they came in because their father is citizen. But
Hmm.
we haven't been, I love being here. It's one of my dreams. I like what you're saying that you told somebody when you were in the high school that you were you're gonna be a global citizen. I woke up 2008 when Obama took office as a president of America. And I told myself I was going to be in America. And I know
Right.
nobody, no sister, no sibling, no relative, nobody. And the Lord threw me to Quito, Ecuador, through Brazil. And it
Mm.
was there that I met my husband, who took me to Nevis. And he never told me he was a citizen. So there was no reason to say, okay, it was because no, you can ask, he never ever, it was me one day after like months I've been there cleaning for him. And like in one of his cabinets, I was like, babe,
Mhm.
wait, whose passport is this? He said, what do you mean? What passport is that? I said, there's a US citizen passport. He said, but it's my name, please. So what do you mean by that? Yeah, so what I'm saying
Mhm.
is I had the vision. I told
Yes.
everybody what's going to happen. And I came in here for Obama's last 4 years. The second 4 years he did it for my sake. I always tell people that. So what am I saying? Those are just power of spoken word. Even when you said it,
Yes.
you don't know it's going to happen. But instead of us in our adulthood to say, what if? Always say, what if is great? What if it will happen? What if it's done
Mhm.
already? What if believing it I've already bring it to pass? No, we'll say, oh, what if it go wrong? What if,
Yeah.
which was how you started to tell us the whole story. We never choose the part of what if is going to happen. What if there's no fear in the other end? What if this is it? No, we always say, oh, what if I miss my base? What if it didn't work how I want? What if this is not what I'm called to do? What if it will never happen? Who said? The time I told you I was busy declaring, yes, I can, yes, I will, yes, I'm going. I had not even a money to pay for my ticket to the next junction I was going to. But I believe strongly. How it was going to connect, I don't know. Just like I told people how I did my first business with my sisters, going to China to buy here, supply for them, bring it to Philippines. How it happened, I don't know. I just cultivated it and the Lord bring it to pass. And that was how I started my first business in Nevis Island after I got married. So guys, I don't know, but I believe that our coach has blessed us today. And let me tell you what she did for me. I don't know about you. She did something to me. She just gave me back my dreams. Like, Joy, I can do that now. I always wanted to be the Abraham of this generation where everywhere my feet tramp, I possess. That's always, I wrote that in my passport, my Nigerian passport I was traveling around with.
Wow.
Yeah, every country I get to, I drop it, they
Mhm.
let me in. People always say, but you had no money. I said, but do I really need money? But they said they always ask for money. I said, but nobody asked me. Because why? Inside that passport where they were not watching, I wrote in it, I'm Abraham. Everywhere that my foot shall tramp, I possess. When I get to the immigration, I drop it, and I'm not looking like I'm desperate because I'm never desperate. Sorry to say, I am not that child. Even right now, somebody will say, Nigerian, you live here, I'm not desperate. Because why? God has given me everything I wanted even before I came in here. Believe me.
Mhm.
So, and how did all that happen? Just like our coach in the house did, told the friends, and they thought like, look at it, she has given birth to a global citizen life. Ladies, who my life will never be the same after this year. No. My life will never be the
It'll
same.
just keep getting better and better.
Better and better and better and better, to in fact the best. I'll live out the full of my life here before I die. We will create heaven here. Coach Sally have created heaven on earth here. So if you want to travel, don't come ask me, oh, Sister Sharon, don't ask me. Sister Bianca, don't ask me. Jane, don't ask me. Every one of you on this line, you guys want to travel, don't come, oh, Pastor Joy. No. There's an expert in the house. Go and ask her how you can make your next journey, make your own program, and just live your best life, right? So I don't know if she has been to Trinidad. I have a lot of ladies in Trinidad. I'm supposed to be in Trinidad in August. So maybe some of you will reach out and say, hey, Sally, come over to Trinidad.
I would love to. I have never been there. So
I'm telling you, she will
there we
love
go.
to. I will be there in August. I'm telling you, I'm just looking at this mastermind I'm going to have with so many of my women there. I have a team, I have a large team in network marketing there, and we're doing our first launch in the country August 24th. So I'm looking forward for that journey. Like, yes, like crazy. So, ladies, and as I said, I walk in like a citizen. I just come in and I'm in the country. We don't have no storytelling. So, ladies, I'm telling you, you can create your best life here. Trust me, you can create and don't really, I want to leave this before we go, coach. I know so many people always wonder, how can I create my best life when I don't have money? I just feel the Holy Ghost leading me to say that. Every life I've created in this my life, Coach Sally, is when I really did not have no money.
Because you become resourceful.
Yes.
It's not about your resources, it's your resourcefulness.
Yes. Even the experience we're creating for the whole entire year, I'm gonna tell you that we are creating it because we are commanded. It's a mandate, and we are doing it. And we are not giving excuse. So we have the VA in the house, we have the systems, we have the books, we have everything, we have the time, we have the group, everything is in place. Because why? I refuse to make the excuse. I'm not better than anyone on this call, but I'm just gonna let you guys know that every great thing that happened to my life, I cultivated it when I wasn't seeing the way. But I just know there's a way. And I'm gonna go out and pursue that way. And that is why we are here today. That is why we are here. So hey, we're calling you to be part of what we're doing. And like I said, Coach has given you everything you need to get access to her today. I know some of you want to travel like me, so connect with her. So before we go, I just want you to give us that wisdom thing, that phrase, that you're going to leave for my women, that they will never forget you. When they remember that, they now know, okay, Coach Sally gave us this.
The one that has been sticking with me lately is, we are all going to die. The question
Oh.
is, will you really live?
Hmm. My God. I just told my husband 2 days ago, I said, babes, you know how many people longing for heaven? Oh, when I die, I go in heaven. When I die, I go to heaven. But what did you do with the earth God gave you? Which our
Heaven is
Father,
on earth.
I'm telling you, what did you do with where he made himself like heaven? Even Jesus taught us to pray. I tell the ladies today, whatever it was last week, I said the prayer Jesus taught us to pray, if you listen to it, you realize that he wants you to create heaven daily on earth. He said, let their kingdom come and your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And he start with, give us this day. And that is a daily prayer. So why are we waiting till we die to say we are going to heaven?
I know.
So, but we all are going to die.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, how did you live here on earth? I'm telling you, guys, put that down. I want to, right now, my life is made up. I want to live blessing women every day of my life by just helping them with wisdom, insight, knowledge, understanding, just help each and every one of us take our mind off from resources to becoming resourceful. Use everything within you and start that thing God is placing in your heart to start. And you will be like my coach Sally, who is going to be here in the even till 6 hours to tell you how much God has been good with every experience God has given her. So let's ride this life now that we are here. Heaven can be a place you want to go, but how did you live with this one that you are here right now before death comes? So I'm just going to let our coach say bye-bye to everyone and myself. Bye-bye, guys. We are the
Bye. Thank
yes.
you.
So see you guys by 1 p.m. We're going to continue with our next speaker. And we have 3 more to go today and 6 tomorrow. So be ready to absorb. And we're going to have the videos for you for a while so that you can go and rewatch and just help yourself. And any of the speakers you want to work with, as I keep saying every time, feel free to reach out to them. I say so. And when you go, tell them, Reverend Joy send you. Anyway, that's it. Bye-bye.